Hey, it's okay. So the current state of the Air Express, and a couple things kind of interfering with the build is started working and actually earning a paycheck. Yay, paycheck. So I'm doing some work for the Registrar of Voters. We're getting everything ready for the upcoming primary elections, and so I've been testing the new voting machines, the touch screens, and all that stuff. Lots of fun. But we're getting onto our build here. So as you can see, I've started the infill process. Get that started. I put in cockpit floor, just a rudimentary cockpit floor. Used a piece of the birch ply that I get, the 1/32 birch ply, and then I laminated that with cardstock, just to give it a smoother, look, more of a finished look without actually doing any sanding or finishing. And that'll be getting a wood stain, I guess, at some point. So we got that. I've got the tail pieces on to be formed into a tail block. It's very rough. These are just crudely carved and installed to give some strength to that tail piece, which was just a 1/16 balsa extension off the back end here that was pretty much unsupported. So this added support keep that from snapping off as I'm doing the infill work. Now once we get sanding, we'll finish sanding that down, just like we do with the floats, the nose blocks on the floats that we did for the Aranca project. So these will be shaped in the same way. Very coarse sandpaper on this sanding block until they are the proper shape. That's our fuselage. Oh, and I ended up cutting off the wing cabane piano wire struts, the cores. They were just going to interfere too much with the sanding. I want to get a nice smooth. You can see how this is radiused in this direction. It's also radiused in this direction. And those just would have interfered with a nice smooth flow of the sanding block to get that shape. So I'm leaving the leg, the main landing gear leg cores in place. I'm going to see how that works, if I can sand around just that with the block, get in here underneath and conform that and get it smooth without cutting these off. I'm going to leave them on if I can. If it looks like it's going to be too much interference, I'll snip them off and we'll go back to square one and just install post infill. We'll just go back with wire and reinstall. So there's no problem either way. We're just going to see which way we fall. Also, on the Roscoe Turner Air Express, it has wheel pants, and the model didn't provide any, so I'm just cutting my own. So, and that what I did was I used tissue paper, just laid it over the wheel. Very simply laid it over the wheel, and then looking at the overall dimension of the airplane kit, and then looking at the drawings and photographs that I have, came up with a shape that would fit around the wheel. We just traced the wheel outline first, and then here's actually my paper template. So we traced the wheel outline onto it first, and then we used our French curve. Use this to get the proper teardrop shaping. Anyway, we made our paper template using those tools, and then so this is about what it'll look like here. Right, so this is what the wheels look like, and they fit in there nicely. They should be able to roll. And so I'm going to cut 2 for each side, actually. So there'll be a total of 4 pieces cut, 2 for each side, and that's still not thick enough. You can see that's still not thick enough. So there'll be a 1/16, actually 3/32 piece added to each side, which will also have the hole cut out, probably in a slightly smaller diameter, since the wheel at that point will be largely covered by these two pieces. But then, so 3/32 on each side, also with the cutout, and then a 1/16 on either side outside of the 3/32 piece. So a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6-part lamination that we'll have. And then the outside pieces, the 16th, will not have the cutout. They'll be solid. So what you'll end up with is a solid looking wheel pant that the wheel will fit inside of, right? But it'll be solid and then sanded to shape and radius both this way, obviously, and this way, and bull-nosed, right, to the proper configuration, and then they'll be applied to the landing gear. Now we just slip these onto the wire. We find center, we drill the hole for the landing gear wire, and press those on. Now there's some other features that go on to these. There are blisters on the inner half of them, something like actually this, bigger like this, only actually even larger than that. They're the attachment point blister where the actual landing gear oleo comes down into the wheel pant. But you'll see all that stuff. I'll go back in another video and show the photograph that I have, or pictures that I have of Roscoe Turner's Air Express, and you'll see what I'm talking about, the blisters on these. Similar blisters appear on the fuselage. There's a blister just above this landing gear attachment. There are smaller blisters just below the wing struts, and also on the underwing surface there are blisters at the attachment points where those struts go into the wing. So it's a very blistered airplane. Lots of blisters on the airplane, all over the place. It's like a ditch digging airplane. It's got blisters all over. But anyway, I digress. So lots of work yet to do, and again, I've got other obligations outside of it, the channel just now. That's kind of cutting into my work time, but I'll be posting more videos. There's a few in the camera here with this one. I'll upload those. I think there's probably 2 or 3 here that I can put up on the channel in the next couple of hours. So I guess look forward to that. What else? I'm trying to think if there's any other news. No, that's it. I'm going to be working on the fuselage, trying to get that infill done. Oh, the decals are coming from Cali Graphics. Miss Callie has said that she's got them just about, they are ready. She's shipping them out to me this week, Friday, she says. So I should see those by the middle of next week. And as soon as I get those in, I'll show you what I got. Also, I wanted to show you what I got from National Balsa. So I said I'd been having trouble sourcing sheet balsa from my local hobby shop. They were carrying the Midwest product, and apparently Midwest is having trouble resupplying, at least my shop. I don't know if they're having problems nationwide or if you're having problem in your area getting sheet balsa. But National Balsa sent my order out. This is how they wrapped it. The 3/32 material on the outside. So there's 1, 2, I think 5 sheets of it. So there's 3 on this side and 2 on this side. The 1/16 material is sandwiched in the middle. Again, it's 4-inch width. I was having trouble finding 4-inch width, and it looks like good material. I haven't cut the bands on it yet. I want to keep it flat. This is primarily for use on a little bit on this project, and then on the Sparrowhawk. I'm going to be using this on the Sparrowhawk, and then when I get going again on the Grumman Cougar, the F9F Cougar, when I get going on that again, I'll probably be placing another order from National. The price was good, shipping was great, the material arrived, it was well wrapped and packaged. They also sent with that, I got a sheet of the another sheet of the 1/32 birch ply, big sheet of that for half of what I was paying. I'll probably reorder and get another that's the 1/64 material. I need a little bit thinner than the 1/32. So the 1/64 is basically, it's like the cardstock a little bit heavier than this, but much stiffer. But the beauty of that stuff is you can cut it with scissors. A good sharp pair of scissors will cut that nicely. So that's the point of getting the 1/64th material. It's great for instead of infilling, but if you want to do sheeting on especially flat underwing surfaces, that stuff is great for sheeting. You just put it on, you know, your underwing surface, cut it just a hair short, like an 1/8 inch undersize, and then use filler around the leading edge, trailing edge. The reason for that is when you go to sand this stuff, it sands differently to balsa. So if you're trying to bullnose that leading edge of the wing, and you've got the birch ply on the underside right up under that leading edge part, your sanding is going to come out a little wonky. So I cut it short and then use filler, and then that helps me get the nice bullnose radius on the underside of the wing. Just a hot tip, in case you're gonna be doing that. You know what I just described. But anyway, I like that stuff for a lot of different purposes. And the best part about it is you just cut it simply with scissors, or the X-Acto. You know, you can do the, you know. But if you're in a hurry, or not in a hurry, but if you, I don't know, want to save time. Oh, that sounds the same, isn't it? I want to save time, but I'm not in a hurry. Yeah. So anyway, I rambled, but that's our latest on the project. And I do, and I did cut out the, I did cut the dummy motor out of the cowling. Dumas provides all of this as one, kind of like this. And I don't really like this look. I can do better. So I sliced that out of there. And I messed around with it, tried to, you know, clean out in between the cylinder heads, just kind of playing around with it. But yeah, I don't like this. It's just not enough detail, and you can't do much with it. I mean, it's got indentations for the push rods, and you could probably drill holes here and here and into the crankcase to mount some kind of a wonky looking ignition harness, I suppose. But in the end, you're gonna, I mean, it's just not gonna be what I want. And it's besides which, we're primarily doing an exposed engine up front. We're gonna leave the cowling off and just build out the motor out here, similar to the image I think I put up in one of the earlier videos. You can see Roscoe Turner leaning against the airplane, and the cowling is off of the airplane. It has the wheel pants in place, but the cowling is off. That's the look I like the best. But what I am going to do is I'm going to build up the Dumas cowling. I'm gonna do all that work. I'm gonna make this part. It's just I'm not going to attach it to the airplane, but I want to build it up and have it and just see how it looks. And you know, for what it's worth, I mean, if it looks all right, if I can build it up and out of wood and plastic and so forth, and it cut away so that it'll fit over the motor, I might do all of that work. I might just go ahead, and if I can shape it, you know, once I've infilled it and structured it, I'm going to come back in and cut away until I can get it to fit. If I can get it to fit over the motor, and as I say, if it does and we like how it looks, then I will put it on. But that's not really where we're aiming right now. That's a peripheral target, if you will, peripheral target. Not what I'm really aiming for. Like I said, I'm going to build it up anyway because I'm a glutton for punishment. I love to do infill, and so we're going to do it and see what happens. Project after this is the Dumas Sparrowhawk. It's the Curtiss Sparrowhawk. This was the Parasite fighter. This was attached to the blimp. The Macon was one, and what was the other one's name? Escapes me now. There were two of them. They both crashed. But this airplane used to be flown from a dirigible, from a blimp, and that's what the trapeze here was for, was to capture in flight onto a structure underneath the dirigible, and then be hoisted up into a hangar bay, an internal hangar bay inside of a dirigible, which just amazing sort of an idea, a notion for rigid airships to have their own fighter escorts, basically an air carrier, a flying carrier, is what the idea was. We're going to be used for coastal patrol, one for the Atlantic and one for the Pacific, I believe was the plan. It didn't come to fruition because both of the dirigibles were lost, as were most of these airplanes. There's one in Smithsonian that looks like this, with the red cowling and red waistband. Ours is going to be with a white. I believe I'm looking at one that has a white cowling and waistband, and white wing striping. This red one is just overdone. I'm shying away from that. That will not be our target. I think more either the white or a different color, maybe green. We might go for green on the cowling and waistband for that one. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Enjoy.